Good morning, Big Brother friends. It is Friday, July 2nd, and I have a lot to talk about. I just checked to see when the last time I actually published a CarCast, and bad me, it has been since last Tuesday, or this past Tuesday. I actually recorded a couple of different times and was slow to post them, so they never went up, and I just decided, screw it, I'll just start over again today and catch you up on everything that has gone on in the last 3 days, which is actually quite a lot for Big Brother, as well as for Big Brother Australia, but I'm really not going to touch on that, other than to say that Big Brother Australia ended on Tuesday night. There is a winner. I was fine with the winner. It was a good show. It was enjoyable. If you never got to see it and still want to know how to see it, you can contact me, and I will point you in a direction. You can contact me at BBGOSSIP on Twitter. My DMs are open all the time. I've opened them a couple of years ago, and I've not gotten an overwhelming, annoying number of DMs, so I will just keep my DMs open for now, which means you can private message me. That's what DMs mean, for those that didn't know. You can also email me at ilovereality@gmail.com. That is the other way to get a hold of me. So either of those two options work. Sorry, I'm driving on my way to work, and traffic is a bit hairy this morning. So, anyways, that's what's up with that. As far as Big Brother Australia, Big Brother, regular old Big Brother. So, I think it was Tuesday afternoon, I believe, after I last posted this, a CarCast, we got interviews posted from Rich and Allison where they talked about the twists and turns for this season. And just to highlight that very briefly, I'm sure most of you already know this, so I'm going to try to keep it brief. The way they explained it, it sounds like there's going to be 16 house guests. It also sounds like they're going to go in, like last year, in groups of 4 and do a competition. That competition will select team captains. The team captains will in turn select... the team captains will draft teams of 4. And then there will be a head of household competition. And the winning head of household, the team that has the winning head of household will be immune. And then the head of household will end up nominating people from the other teams. I'm not sure about the exact mechanics of that. And there will also be an opportunity to earn immunity, but the immunity can come with a penalty. It gets started to get a little bit convoluted and confusing, and I'm sure it will make sense when it happens, but right now, still not quite sure how it all is going to work. But I'm okay with all of this because, I just am. I'm okay with all of it. They're not going to do a straight up Big Brother at this point. This is a first 4-week gimmick, which is exactly what I guessed, and I'm not the only one. It'll be over. Teams will be gone after 4 weeks, and then you're back to regular Big Brother or some version of regular Big Brother. So be aware of all that. Just be patient. Let's see how it works out. They will enter the house live. That's what we do know. They said it would be live, and I do believe them. So just as I said way back when, live entry into the house. So, should be interesting. Then on Thursday, yesterday, unexpectedly to me, people thought we'd get cast reveal on Wednesday, and it's like, we're not going to get a cast reveal until we get a house. And we're just not going to. That's what I kept saying. You all know that that's not the case at this point, right? Yesterday, out of the blue, Wednesday, CBS announced that we'd get a cast reveal on Thursday. So everyone was just waiting for Thursday, for the announcement to come on Thursday. I figured it would come around noon, which is what I said in my CarCast that I recorded and never posted. I guessed it would come around noon. I can't even tell you what time it actually came at this point. because, no, it came before noon. That's right, it did. Because at some point in the morning, I happened to pull up Twitter. I mean, I don't check a lot of Twitter a lot of times during the day because I'm working. But as I happen to, just as I pull it up, one of our Twitter accounts that I follow, Liquidated, who is the person who creates the most recent version of Big Brother Viewer that people use, he suddenly tweeted that the cast was released with pictures. And I looked at the pictures like, wait, this doesn't look legit. This looks like another set of, pictures from that other people have been putting out there, just because it just looked so different than a normal Big Brother cast. And so I quickly went to the link that he said, and sure enough, there's a bunch of pictures there. So I immediately did what any smart person does when something completely unexpected shows up in your Twitter timeline. I screen capped it, because goodness knows that can go away real fast. And lo and behold, it did go away real fast, believe it or not. But it was there for a few minutes. So I screen capped it as best I could. And then I quickly pasted it into Microsoft Paint and then made a picture and shared it on my timeline and said, look, we have a cast. And we started talking about it. I was like, oh my gosh, look at this. And then I went, wait, I have only 15. How come he has 16? And I'm sitting there comparing side by side, trying to figure out, wait, what's this? And I realized I was missing the first name on the list, or the first name, or the first person, picture-wise. Turned out that I guess they'd started deleting pictures. The next thing I know, it's like, nope, the cast is no longer available. So I still have the webpage pulled up. I cut and pasted the names that were on the list too. And so I had a list of 15 names and 15 pictures. And then I realized that I was missing, I think it's Lopez is her last name, Alyssa Lopez. I was missing the very first person. Well, that caused all kinds of confusion, and it's still causing confusion. People are still retweeting my original tweet from yesterday, because I said, looks like we have a cast, and check the box for diverse, because it is a very diverse looking cast, physically diverse looking. Just the faces that are there is like, wow, this is all kinds of people. Age-wise, yeah, let's forget about age, okay? Look, the oldest person's 40. Just forget about the age thing. Deal with it, folks. If you don't think there's enough old people on Big Brother, then we need lots and lots and lots more old people to apply, and then they will start putting old people on, will be my guess. But I don't think that many older folks are actually applying. I've never applied and never will apply. And I really don't want my life raked over the coals like most of these people. But neither here nor there at the moment. Let's just talk about the cast. So the cast shows up. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm missing a person. I put up dates. I said, look, I was missing a person. Here's the person who's missing. And we go through all that. And then the rumors start that another one of the pictures isn't on the cast, which explains maybe why CBS got rid of it. First of all, I think it was put up in error by CBS. I think it was an intern that flipped the wrong switch. But on top of that, apparently, as we know now, that original picture, that original webpage as it was printed, was not the correct cast. One of the people on that cast was actually not in the show. Now, we don't know when they were removed from the cast. I'm assuming they were on the cast at one point, and we're not sure when or why they were removed, but they weren't on it a few hours later when the actual cast was released. The actual cast was released, and on the picture that I originally sent out, there was someone on there named Garrett Smiles, I think, Smyles, and Garrett was no longer on the cast when it was published by all of the outlets that had the cast, and he was replaced instead by I gotta look here, by Christian. The traffic is a bit crazy today. By a guy named Christian, who actually looks a lot like Garrett. They look very similar, which is not it's not a good look for CBS. It's like, really? You pulled one guy, bushy-headed guy, and replaced him with another bushy-headed guy with facial hair? I mean, it really was kind of, the only difference is one had glasses and one didn't. So, yeah, It's kind of like, yeah, they have their slots of people they just drop them into, and they pulled one and dropped in another. It really felt that way. So, that happened. So finally, the actual cast was released, and we got the names, we got the bios. It looked to me like it was basically a press release that everybody just copied and pasted. I haven't compared side by side, other than I did know that at least one bio that I read had some information on one website that wasn't on another. So I don't know if they got a laundry list of information and they chose what to include or what, but I have to be honest with you guys, I've not read everybody's bios yet. I'm torn. I don't know what to do, because I was like, well, do I read them and comment on them? Live, do I read them and comment on them? Do I read them and write up my own thoughts and publish them on BigBrotherGossip.com? Do I wait for the video interviews? And I'm like, I saw the faces, I saw the different things, and I'm like, okay. And right now I thought I have to sneeze, so I'll be right back. Bless me. So, I saw all these different faces and pictures and all these names, and I was just like, a bit of an overload. And then all the reactions start, and then all the dirt digging on the people start, and there was so much going on. And again, remember, I'm at work. So, I never read all the bios. I read the names. I saw some basic information on different people, and I decided I'm waiting for the video interviews, I think. So I have the names. I'm going to briefly read all of the names in the next couple of minutes here, and trust me, my drive is going faster than I thought it would already, so it's not going to be a long list. I'm not going to have a lot to say. I'm really just going to go blast through them very quickly and add my initial thoughts on a couple that I have more information on, and then we'll go on. But let's put it this way. Overall, first of all, we know that what we read in the bios doesn't end up being what we get. We see certain things and they turn out to be different. So this is an initial cursory glance. Don't think this is how it's all going to actually work out as far as the way people are going to be. They're not going to be who they look like they are on paper. But I will offer my thoughts. So, if you can hear the rustling, I'm trying to keep this piece of paper close by so I can glance briefly at it. The good news is that I am heading off the interstate, so I am not looking at that list until I am off the interstate, because that would be bad. Let me think what else I want to say. Yeah, nothing. All right. I think I've never even done the count. I do think it's 8. This is where I have to be careful, okay? We talk about diversity. This also includes diversity in gender. To the best of my knowledge, there is nobody that is considered trans in this cast, okay? Now, I think that would have shown up by now if that was the case. Somebody would have revealed it, but I don't remember how quick it took us to find out about Audrey on Big Brother 17, so I am not 100% sure. I do believe that CBS wanted to see if they could make that a surprise when that happened on Big Brother 17, but I think it was revealed by somebody else when it happened. I don't remember how that went down. But let's talk about this cast real quick. The number of house guests, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Uh-oh. He counts again. Oh, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, 8 women, 8 men. Okay. 8 women, 8 men. Again, I said the oldest age is 40. What other basics? I'm not trying to count ethnicities, although last night on my YouTube stream that I did, by the way, I think that's really where I'm going, is YouTube stream. I've done it for the last 3 days. I'll do it again tonight. It seems to work okay. So those of you that used to watch me on Periscope for the last few years, you should find me on YouTube. I am tweeting out the link. My YouTube account that I use is I Love Reality. So if you go to YouTube and you search for I Love Reality, you should be able to find me, and you can see the most recent CarCasts I've done. Matter of fact, I think on Wednesday, I did lunch with John, and we did a lunchtime one where we talked about the interview with Rich and Allison that I briefly touched on here today. Okay, so one of the things I did say last night on my CarCast was talking about diversity and the fact I don't want to look at these pictures and just say, oh, look, how many white people are there? But let's do that anyways, because let's be honest, that's part of what people were looking at this year, and that is one of the things that CBS said that they were going to remedy or change or take care of. I realize some people, there's obviously some division among the fans on thinking things didn't need fixed. I actually am one of the people that think, you know what, if you think about it and you look at it, it did need fixed. Let me give my quick analogy, which I gave yesterday. And it's I'm painting this with a broad brush. Please bear with me. Just understand. So, I am a white male, right? I'm a white heterosexual male. I am pretty much the ultimate, privileged person in the world as far as those kind of things. Growing up, and actually, I don't know how old was I, but in the 90s, let's say, in the late 80s, watching television, a channel came out, BET, right? You guys have heard of BET, Black Entertainment Television. Now, for me, I rarely ever watch BET, right? I would rarely ever turn the channel on. I'm not going to say I never did, but almost rarely, because honestly, for me, personally, at that time, there wasn't a whole lot on that channel that interested me, that I was looking at for entertainment, that I really cared to watch. I didn't have negative thoughts. I just thought this isn't for me. Let's translate that. If you were a black American and you turn on the TV, well, by and large, almost every other channel could be called white entertainment television, right? Not completely, but it skewed a lot more heavily in that direction. So I could have some sympathy to people when they go like, this when I look at Big Brother, this show isn't for me. I don't feel like it represents what it has an interest in what I want. Even if there's a couple of people on there, it's only a couple. There were a few white people on black entertainment, but that doesn't mean that it made me say, oh, I'll still watch it. I don't want to get way into the details on this, and that's not why I'm doing this one this morning, but that's what I said last night. So I said, I can understand the want to see a more mixed up version of Big Brother. So this cast is definitely it. I can't see, if people are complaining, which they have complained to me, by the way, that it isn't diverse enough. I'm sorry. This is pretty damn diverse, and wow. I just was amazed at the faces that I saw. And I want to say color of faces, but just the shapes of faces, just everything. I was like, oh my gosh, this is a really diverse cast. So when you look at the number of what I would say Caucasian, I counted maybe 5 and maybe 6. But there's Latino, there's Middle Eastern, not Middle, sorry, I said Middle Eastern. There's Asian. Now, someone did tweet at me and say, "Where's the Middle Eastern?" And that's where it was like, okay, these are things that are hard to tell when you're just looking at people's looks. You can't tell everybody's heritage based on their looks. Alyssa, her last name is Lopez, which would to me indicate Latina. But you know what? It's possible that one of her parents is from the Middle East. I don't know, and it could be any of these people. Their parents could be from the Middle East. We don't know. Their bios don't list that stuff. The closest that was Hannah is one of the cast members, and she lists her she said her parents are from India and South Africa. So that's not Middle East, obviously. India is not the Middle East. It is considered Asia. But I'm just saying, you don't know where all of these people's parents were from, and so we're going on physical appearances to determine race, and that is not necessarily the way you need to do. And we may not know any of these people unless they specifically say it in an interview or in the house while they're having a conversation. All right, let me just blast through this super fast because I'm like 3 minutes away from parking. Way too quick. But the house guests, and any kind of very bare initial impressions. Alyssa, no big impression because I didn't read any information on her. Or I read some. She designs swimsuits. Scott really likes her. Azah, I have read a little bit about her, and I'm assuming I'm pronouncing these names right, and I'm sure I'm mangling them in some way, so my apologies. Managed to find an old, what appears to be an old Twitter account for her, but that's about all the information I got. She reads like she's going to be a very strong player, but then again, these are the bios that are pre-written, so you can't really tell. Brent. People, Brent's got this sleepy-eyed look. Brent has this look, and like he's breathes like, I don't know. I don't want to make guesses based on bios. I did read his bio. I'm just not sure. I gotta wait to see this guy, how he's going to be. Brittany, I'm going to say this a lot, by the way. Brittany, I guess she's a big TikTok person. A lot of people seemed annoyed with her. Some people seem very excited about her. Maybe in an over-the-top way, like, oh my God, she's going to be wild. But someone else also pointed out that maybe her brother's in some major legal troubles and wanted me to bash her for her brother's potential actions. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. So that was a whole other thing. Christy is the one that's probably easiest to call out because she has no hair. She is the first bald Sports Illustrated swimsuit model, if that's a thing. She is the one of a couple of what we've called in the past stunt casts, in my opinion. I don't think she applied to Big Brother. I think Big Brother went looking for her. She's got a large amount of followers. She's got this story. She has alopecia. She started going bald after college. So she's got a story to tell. She's much like Christy Christmas being the first female, pit crew and all that. I think that's part of the reason that she's on the show. But if she's entertaining and fun to watch and she is a competitor, then I really don't care. So that's Christy. Now I'm parked, and I'm not halfway through the cast, so we're going to really pick it up again. So the next person is also, I think, a stunt cast. It is Derek. Derek is Joe Frazier, who's a very famous boxer. One of his sons, or son, I don't know if Joe Frazier only has one son. I think he's another stunt cast. Both of them, by the way, have Twitter accounts. Both of them have very few followers. They're probably more popular on Instagram, but I didn't check it out because I really don't do Instagram. There's actually more than one Derek, if you can believe it, and they both spell their names the same way, which is different than Big Brother 16 Derek. It is Derek. The other Derek, who I won't pronounce his last name, I've heard it pronounced, but I don't want to mangle it. He's Asian. I had a friend. I won't go there. People were talking about him. I don't. He seems like an okay guy. We'll have to wait and see. I think he seems like a fan. I saw some people that were very excited because they feel he's the first Asian male on the show since Big Brother 1. I don't know which Big Brother. I mean, in a long, since Big Brother 4 probably. They wrote off, these people were writing off James, saying James really was more American than he was Asian, I guess. So take that for what it's worth. Please don't be offended. I'm not trying to offend James. I'm just saying some of the comments I read. But it's true. I don't remember many Asian males being on Big Brother. Curtis and I can't think of his name now from Big Brother 4. And then James, maybe there's been 4. And maybe this is the 4th. So yeah, that's been a slot, a hole that's been not filled very often. Next up, Frenchie, who is not French as far as I can tell. And his name is actually not Frenchie, but that's his last name, and he goes by Frenchie. He apparently applied for Sequester. He is a actual Big Brother fan. I checked his timeline. He tagged me once in a tweet years ago. He does follow me. I want to be excited for him, and I want to root for him. I'm waiting to make sure that it's okay to, because there's also, I think, stories that he may have, I don't know. I got to figure out. This is when the dirt starts hitting the fan, and you realize, oh, why didn't they figure that out when they screened him? Some things can't come out until the en masse knows that somebody's on, and then they go, oh, this guy. But I saw some initial backlash, but I haven't seen it late in the day, so maybe it was just implied, or I'm not sure. But anyway, so Frenchie, I have the potential to really root for him, but I have to wait a little bit longer. Next up is Christian. Christian is the replacement. I did actually delve into his Twitter account last night. He's a model, or was a model. Looks completely different on his Twitter page from the bushy-haired, bearded guy that we see in this picture. I don't know if he's going to clean up, but he definitely doesn't look this way on his page. He's got the clean cut, just sharp angled jaw. He looks like he's put on a little bit of weight, like his face is filled out, and he's grown out that hair. I don't think he's probably a fan. I think he's a recruit, but so are lots of these people, I'm sure. Next up, Hannah. Hannah is the one who I already mentioned, whose parents are from India and South Africa. She had a couple of different Twitter accounts. One was an old one and one was a newer one. The newer one was locked, so didn't add it or anything. No big read on her. I think she's from Chicago, which is I always like to find Chicago connections because that's close to me, relatively speaking. So I usually remember the Chicago players. Kyland is another one who has a fairly active Twitter account. I think he's a fan. Looks interesting. Have to see. No telling for sure. Sarah, she sounds like one of the nerdy ones. There's a couple of different girls from the past, or women from the past few seasons where you could say, oh, she's this version. She's the nerdy girl, who's kind of cute and da-da-da-da. So I could see her falling into that. And that sometimes isn't a great hard player. She's more of a floater kind of a thing. We'll have to see. I didn't read her bio yet. I just know what I read online. Next up, Tiffany. Tiffany is the, quote, oldest player. She's 40. Other than that, I haven't read much on her, so I can't tell you much. But that will be her. She may fall into the mom role, or maybe she won't. It'll be hard to tell until we actually see. And the interviews will tell us so much more. The video interviews, which I don't know if they'll come today or early next week. Travis. I don't know. As soon as Travis's name was published, all kinds of things came out that were bashing Travis, that said he was not a nice guy towards women. I don't know if any of them were legit though, because then late last night I came across a Bleacher Report thing, which was it looks like it's a bit. And I tweeted it late last night. It was not real. It was fake, and he was an actor in it, but his name was Travis in it, and he was pretending to be a really, really gross, male chauvinist-wise kind of a guy that just used women, but it's all done in deadpan, and so it's like, this is not real, right? And it's on Bleacher Report, and everyone's like, Bleacher Report's all fake, and I'm like, that's fine, but we need to explain this to the rest of the world, because some people are going to think this is a legit bit. We'll have to see, but he is definitely the big muscular guy, that's jock guy. He fits that slot to a T. Finally, two more. Whitney, I have no read on other than I've seen a couple of pictures of her, and I don't know. She could be interesting. She apparently is named after Whitney Houston, I think somebody said, so there's your Whitney take. And finally, Xavier. Xavier is the one that a lot of the women are oohing and eyeing over. He's very chiseled, very, very male model looking. He's got definitely some pictures of topless pictures where he is just cut. Seems very intelligent. He's a lawyer. I hope his gameplay holds up to his bio. That's what I'll say about that. So it's a very diverse cast. I'm excited. It should be interesting. I will talk more about it maybe over the weekend. I'll see and go through the bios, and hopefully we'll get the videos before the weekend. If not, it may be until Monday or Tuesday when we get it. We still don't have a house either. All right, guys, that's it for now. I gotta go. So everybody be well. Take care, and thanks for following me on Twitter. I am now back over 100,000 followers. It just shot right up over the last couple of weeks. As expected, this is what happens to me. I get a bunch of followers, and then they start unfollowing me over the course of between September and June. They will all unfollow me, like thousands will, and then a new group comes back. So appreciate all the new followers. I don't know how you're listening to this. If you clicked on this in Twitter, you can find this on all of the podcast whatever you use for podcasts, iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, you name it, Spotify, it's out there. You just have to search for Mike's Big Brother CarCast and you will find it. And then you can just add it to your iTunes or to your podcast list. All right. Take care, everybody. We'll see you. One last thing. If you want to be a patron, you can go to patreon.com/BBGOSSIP to be a Patreon or a patron of everything I do, including my CarCast, my afternoon drives, and anything else. And some occasional insight, which I need to do something special for my patrons sometime soon, and I will try to do that in the next few days. Take care, everybody. We'll talk to you. Bye-bye.